Hi guys, it's Kathy. I hope you're doing well. Whew, we made it through a Saturday. Yep, it was a day. Doubles on a Saturday. And then my schedule changed, so tomorrow I start, well, I guess today. I start in a couple hours now. Then my dog wants me. Okay, whatever. She'll be fine. Sure she will. So the first part today, we have some bond reconsideration hearings. So the defendants aren't even there at all. It's just the lawyers and the judge. And the lawyers, they just say what the charges are, like what they did and why they shouldn't get a bond or why they should. And these people are crazy. I mean, some of the bonds are really, really, really high for something stupid, and some of the bonds are really, 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 really low for something that should be a lot higher. But it's Georgia. It's not Fulton County. So like it's better. They're not in jail for 600 days, but they're in jail for a bit if they can't make their bond. Kelly, what the heck happened to the horns? I don't know what that means. That's fine. That's not for me. That's for Kelly. I should get out of their conversation, shouldn't I? I should worry about myself. Let's see. Let's start with the bond hearings. The first few are normal, and then it gets good.
Okay. Looks like position 3, Anthony Cabrera Pinea.
Yes, Judge. This defendant currently has a $14,000 bond. It was set at the defendant's first appearance on July 15th of 2024. He was arrested on July 12th. This incident occurred about 2:53 in the morning on July 12th, Judge, at the El Mercado Hispano, when Dunwoody officers were on patrol and traveling southbound on Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. Officer Moses observed a male wearing a black hooded sweater, white face mask, and dark colored pants exiting the front of the closed business, El Mercado Hispano, by crouching through the broken glass door. This officer had reason to believe that a burglary was in progress and circled back. And when he returned, the male was running down the hill towards Dunwoody Glen Apartments. Additional units were requested. They arrived. They were able to confirm that the front door to the business had been smashed. And outside the building, there was a large bag containing lottery tickets and marijuana. Next to the bag was a white Croc shoe and one brown shoe, which led officers to believe the defendant had run out of his shoes and that perhaps there was another individual involved as well. Another agency, Gwinnett County Police, was also in the area and came across a male later identified as this defendant with mismatching shoes and profusely sweating. Officers stopped him, and the male identified himself as Alex Romero with a birthday with the same birthday as this defendant. Dunwoody police officers were able to meet with Gwinnett and the male that they had stopped. They noticed he was wearing one white Croc, the same as what was found on scene, and a fingerprinting device was not able. No one was able to locate a record on him, but by using the fingerprinting device, they were able to positively identify that suspect as this defendant. He was taken into custody. They searched him. They found small pieces of glass stuck to the bottom of his shoes, and he was in possession of a THC vape pen and a set of keys that were able to unlock those lottery boxes, as well as another key that opened the room where the lottery tickets were contained. Officers were able to collect approximately $9,000 worth of scratch-off lottery tickets. As for his criminal history, Judge, he was removed from the United States in 2016 in Texas. In 2021, he was convicted out of Norcross for family violence battery. He was sentenced to 12 months probation. There is an FTA on that case. And then March 31st of 2024, he was arrested for theft by receiving stolen property and driving on suspended license. That case is pending in DeKalb State Court. Judge, given all the facts and circumstances, the state believes that a $14,000 bond is more than fair and reasonable, and any reduction should be denied at this time.
Okay.
Okay, robbing lottery tickets. All right, yeah, that might be on my bucket list because you never know if it was worth it or not. So you scratch them off.
Attorney Mosley?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Your Honor, this is the first time that Mr. Pinea's case has been heard in Superior Court. So we are asking for a reasonable reduction here. Mr. Pinea did come to Atlanta when he was 14 years old with his family. He came here seeking asylum, Judge. He lives predominantly in the Dunwoody area. He lives in an apartment with some roommates. Prior to that, he did live with his parents and his brothers. They all still live in the Atlanta area, and he is still very involved with his family. He has a 3-year-old son, Your Honor, who he is very involved with. He sees him most weekends, and he pays about $600
It's evidence for another 4 years.
a month in child support for his son. He is, like I said, very involved and very eager to provide for his son. He works in construction, primarily doing painting and tile work. He's been doing that consistently for about 5 or 6 years. And Your Honor, we are asking for a reasonable reduction here simply because Mr. Pinea has been in custody for just shy of a month. Certainly would not be able to afford a $14,000 bond. These are nonviolent charges. The drugs that are allegedly involved are very, very small amounts. And so we're asking for a reduction to something close to $5,000. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Well, based on the allegations and based on his previous failure to appear, I do believe the bond that has been set is fair and reasonable and would not further reduce or modify it.
All right, that takes us to position 4.
And position 4A.
So once she makes her decision, they don't even say thank you. They don't say, can I be excused? She makes her decision, they leave. No more words.
Adrian Celestine.
Yes, Your Honor. So this defendant was arrested on August 17, 2024 for obstruction, criminal attempt to commit hijacking, aggravated assault. On August 19, 2024, Judge Neal set a $21,000 bond with stay away from the victim and no firearms. The brief recitation of the facts of the case are that in the early morning hours, the victim was parked in an apartment complex near her boyfriend's when the defendant, who was driving her vehicle, pulled up with another female passenger in the passenger seat and 2 males in the back. The females and the males got out, approached the victim with guns. The victim fled in her car. The defendant gave chase, ramming the victim's car multiple times through 2 complexes, crashing the victim's car. The victim then fled on foot. Gunshots were heard behind her. Random cars in the area and at least 1 apartment building were damaged. A witness saw the incident. Defendant was detained for being the driver, denied that, but had the keys in the car when she was arrested. Your Honor, the criminal history is this defendant has a August 2020, looks like 4 counts of felony child abuse or neglect out of Nevada, and a May 13, 2024 false report of a crime out of DeKalb. Based on that, we think the bond is more than fair and reasonable, and there's not been a significant change in circumstance. We think the defendant is a flight risk, as it appears that she is based out of Nevada. and was also out on bond on 2 cases when she committed this offense. So we think that she is a risk of reoffending, as well as a danger to community and property, and a risk of intimidating victims and witnesses in this case. So again, we would ask for the bond to remain as is.
Okay, Attorney Johnson.
Zoom in, you'll see them.
Yes, Judge. Ms. Celestine is 35 years old. She is in the compliance dorm in the jail. She has also completed an anger management course in the jail, and she's an inmate worker. She does the outside of the pods and helps distribute supplies, and is one of the house moms, as they call her, and helps take care of everything for Deputy Lenton in the compliance pod. She does live here in Georgia. She lives in Clarkston, Georgia. She works, before she was arrested, as a store manager for Dollar Tree on Memorial Drive. She will still have that job when she gets out, and was working every day before this arrest. She moved to Georgia about 5 years ago. She has 4 children, and they all live with her here in Georgia. They have been with her boyfriend while she's been in jail. She talks to them every single day on the phone. She has some college. She's educated. She did attend some college in California.
Thank you, Hope.
Per
I
the
appreciate
criminal
it.
history the state just read out, it sounds like she really doesn't have any. It doesn't sound like any of those were convictions. The Vegas charges, I believe, are still pending. It was a situation where she left the house when the kids were asleep, and unfortunately was charged as child neglect, but that is still pending case and it hasn't gone anywhere. She is not a risk to intimidate any witnesses. She does not know any of the people involved in this. And we are asking your honor to reduce the bond to $5,000. She is unable to afford it at the $21,000 it is right now, and it is important for her to get out and be with her children. They have been without their mother for the 63 days that she has been in jail.
Okay, thank you. Based on the information that has been provided about the incident in conjunction with her pending cases, I do believe the $21,000 bond with conditions is fair and reasonable, and I would not further reduce or modify the bond.
I'm down to
Okay,
go.
position number 6, Rasham Dixon.
Yes, she is. Remember at the very beginning in my intro, I said that we don't get to see the defendants.
Your Honor, this is the case. This is Brett Seaman for the state. This is the case of Rasham Dixon. This defendant had originally a $20,000 bond. It looks like bond was reduced to $17,500 with a do not return and no contact with the victim. The arrest date on this is May 2nd, 2024.
Kelly, you're so kind to try to put beer into my plans like that. I appreciate that.
The charges in the case are robbery by sudden snatching, as well as theft by shoplifting. A brief factual recitation is that on May 2nd, 2024, the victim was at the library and on Candler Road while standing outside and talking on the phone. She's approached by dark-skinned male wearing a white button-up shirt with polka dots, slim build, 30, 40 years
Now,
old.
I think, I don't know if this is one that was on my calendar before, but I always disclose with the library-related cases. Did this occur in the library, around the library? Because I was on the board for a number of years
Hi, Melissa Love.
For the library
It's while standing outside
on
of the
library property?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
standing outside the library, Judge.
Okay, so just for that disclosure, would you like to place it on another calendar, or would you like for me to go ahead and hear this today? ADA Seaman and Ms. Mosley, what's your preference?
Honor, would you mind if I reach out to the assigned attorney and just get their position? And
Certainly, then we'll just hold position 6 and come back.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. So position number 7.
All right. Your Honor, position 7 is defendant Jose Felix. He currently has a $25,000 cash surety or property bond. And that was granted July 30th by Judge Elamine. The incident date is April 11th of 2024. And he was arrested the same day. And it involves Sequoia Middle School. The victim had previously trespassed into the incident location at Sequoia Middle School on Aztec Road in Atlanta, Georgia. Law enforcement officers and school administration had informed defendant that he was not to enter the school premises. However, on the incident day, the defendant tore open a roll-up door to the football field house to access the middle school, and the damage to the door did exceed $500. Law enforcement from the DeKalb Public Schools, they have been involved with the defendant since 2022. Defendant was living in a shed on school property, and according to the officer, the defendant's family used to live in the area but moved to Florida. In December of 2023, the defendant was caught in the teacher's lounge drunk and was arrested for a second time. Defendant has been arrested 4 times, according to the officer, from school grounds, but school officials have encountered him nearly 50 times on school grounds. The defendant has been caught drunk and nude, and the school officials are concerned for student safety. Your Honor, he was given.
Everybody should be concerned about this guy. What is he doing? What in the hell?
Pretrial diversion out of Miami-Dade, Florida in 2020 for disorderly intoxication and emergency communications misuse of 911 and trespass property after warning in 2021. In DeKalb Superior Court, he ultimately pled nolo to criminal trespass, which was an arrest from the DeKalb County school system as well, and given 12 months probation and a do not return to Sequoia Middle School. And he was arrested again in December of 2023 for criminal trespass. That case was ultimately dismissed. And then in 2017, there is an alien removal under Section 212. So, Your Honor, this is a 90-day case. No, I apologize. He does have a current bond of $25,000. Your Honor, given that he can't seem to stay away from this school, the fact that he has been removed from the country once, Your Honor, the state believes that the defendant is a flight risk. There has been no significant change in circumstances. He is a risk to reoffend and he'll go back to this location. Your Honor, we would ask that the bond reduction be denied.
Okay, let me hear from the defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, Mr. Felix is 24 years old. As ADA Childer said, his family is down in Florida, but he's been here. He was working, doing roofing, but in the winter months, that work slowed down. And he was having issues with his roommates at the time that forced him to leave his apartment. So given the fact that work wasn't picking up the time, plus he was having the issues with his roommates, that forced him to, lose a home and lose a place to stay. So he was looking for a place to stay on the day of the incident. The school resource officer at the preliminary hearing confirmed that he found bedding, personal effects, and a bucket used as a toilet inside the football field house. Also, the officer said that Mr. Felix was very cooperative and answered questions about what he was doing there and where his family was. I think it also should be noted that Mr. Felix is in the compliance dorm at the jail, and he also is working at the jail. He has found a job for himself at the jail. So I think this shows that Mr. Felix is compliant with officers and he's not a threat to witnesses. So for those reasons, we believe a $3,000 bond would be reasonable for Mr. Felix.
These are certainly some concerning facts with alleged repeated returns to a middle school. I am going to deny your request to further reduce or modify the bond, as it does appear to be fair and reasonable. Okay, position number 8, Shonda Fields.
Yes, Your Honor. Brett Seaman for Shonda Fields.
Thanks for coming out, Melissa.
On the case of Shonda Fields. This defendant was given a bond on August 2nd, 2024 of $100. They've been in custody since August 1st, 2024. The charges are felony obstruction, misdemeanor obstruction, loitering and prowling. A brief recitation of the facts is that on August 1st, 2024, officers were on patrol in the area of Peachtree Road, Brookhaven, when they noticed someone under a blanket in front of the front door of the leasing office. They made contact with a person identified as the defendant. They asked several times for name and date of birth, but that was refused. Officer attempted to arrest the defendant, and she resisted by kicking, as well as grabbing the officer's arms, punching, swinging, and trying to get away. A taser was deployed. Your Honor, as I said, a $100 cash bond is extremely fair and reasonable. There have been no change of circumstances that would warrant a reduction. We think the defendant is a risk of reoffending. They have a 96 conviction for robbery out of Richmond, another 96 conviction for robbery out of Richmond, as well as 9 misdemeanor convictions spanning to 2024. I'm sorry, a third robbery conviction from Richmond in 2009. Your Honor, this bond is extremely low, and the charge is not eligible for a UJR. The case is prepared for indictment and scheduled.
Okay, let me hear from the defense.
Yes, Judge. So the change in circumstance is that she has been in jail for So Ms. Fields is 54 years old. She has lived in Georgia for most of her life. She was born in Augusta, raised there. She's briefly some time in New York, but came back to Georgia and has been
I don't even know. I'm just pausing it for a second. See what's going on. There has to be something better than this freaking Xfinity. There we go. Hold on one more second. I'm watching my Wi-Fi. Okay, we're there we go. I'm going to rewind it 20 seconds.
in Augusta,
There we
raised
go.
there. She's briefly some time in New York, but came back to Georgia and has been here for most of her life. She is blind in one eye, and so she can't work. She gets SSI for that. She is a high school graduate. And the facts of this case, she was asleep, and officers started asking her for information, and while she was sleeping, it doesn't sound like anyone had called or complained about her. She wasn't bothering anyone. She was just a homeless person trying to sleep. Based on all of that and the fact that she has been unable to post a bond even when it is so low, we are asking Your Honor to grant a UJR in this case. I don't believe, I'm checking again right now. I don't believe this is, I do think this qualifies for a UJR. I don't think this is a bail restricted charge. So I don't know what Mr.
Good.
Seaman.
Obstruction is a bail restricted charge. I mean,
I think
in the
it's
statute.
obstruction requesting an ambulance when not needed specifically. That's my understanding.
Okay, anything further from the defense?
No, Your Honor, if Your Honor is not inclined to grant a UJR, we would ask for a nominal cash bond of $5, but I do think it qualifies.
Okay. Well, certainly she does appear to be in without a home, but she does have a history that is concerning. The most the court would do is reduce it to $50 with the stay away. There are a couple of these cases that I just don't understand the delay. They appear to be fairly straightforward. Seems like y'all could come to some meeting of the minds and push these cases through either by waiver or a fast track indictment. But again, the most the court would be able to do would be reduce it to $50. Stay away.
So there we go, 100 to 50. See if she can get that money.
Okay.
She gets
And Your Honor, is that
SSI.
$50 bond a cash surety property or just straight cash?
Straight cash.
Okay.
Position number 9, Andre Flanigan.
Angela Vasilopoulos for the state. This case is State v. Andre Flanigan. He's currently charged with burglary in the 2nd degree. The incident date was June 28th. He was arrested that same day. The incident location is 2014 Candler Road in Decatur, Georgia, which is a City Trend store. He has been in custody now for 112 days. So 90 days has elapsed in this case, not being indicted. So the state does recognize that he is entitled to bond. Bond has been denied several times in this case. At first appearance on June 29th, 2024. Then bond was denied by Judge Bethel on June 18th of this year. And finally, bond was denied by Your Honor in September 19th of this year. Judge, being that you're familiar with this case, since you denied bond, would you still like me to provide a brief summary of the facts?
Yes, I do recall a bit of the facts, but in order to be sure I'm giving full consideration, if you would just go through it.
Yes, Judge. On June 28th, 2024, officers responded to an overnight alarm call at the City Trend store on Candler Road. When officers arrived, they observed that entry had been made through the front glass door and that it had been shattered. While securing the scene, officers noticed a man walking down the sidewalk with a trash bag over his shoulder. He had blood on his ankles and legs, and then put the trash bag down in the bushes and kept walking. Officers looked into the bag and saw that it contained clothing items from City Trends with tags on them. The man was detained and later identified as the defendant. As to the defendant's criminal history, Your Honor, it is extensive. He has 60 cycles going back to 1990. The following are out of Athens, Clark County. In 1990, he pled under first offenders to possession of a controlled substance. He has a conviction for possession of crack cocaine from 1992. In 2001, he was convicted of a DUI. He has convictions of possession of cocaine and criminal trespass from 2005, of which he violated probation on in 2007. In 2007, he was convicted of possession of items prohibited for possession by an inmate and crossing guard lines. He has convictions of possession of drug-related objects from 2009, of which he violated probation for in 2009, only a couple months after his conviction. In 2010, he was convicted of possession of cocaine with the intent to distribute, of which he violated probation on twice, once in 2011 and once in 2012. In 2015, he was convicted of possession of cocaine with intent to distribute, of which he is currently under sentence, and he was sentenced to 10 to serve 12 months, of which he violated probation of in 2019. In 2017, he pled nolo to giving a false name to law enforcement in Winder Municipal Court and failed to appear on that case in 2016. And finally, in March of 2023, he was convicted of criminal trespass in DeKalb State Court. Your Honor, the state considers the defendant a clear risk to reoffend and a danger to the community, given his criminal history is so extensive. He is also a risk of flight, given that he has violated probation 5 times throughout this time and failed to appear in 2016. The state would also like to note that we have contacted the victim, the manager of the City Trend store, and while he is not in attendance today, he wants the court to know he is opposed to bond. The state is asking for no less than $75,000 bond, recognizing that this is a 90-day case.
Okay. Attorney Mosley?
Yes, Judge, thank you. Your Honor, as the state noted, this is a 90-day case. Mr. Flanigan is 50 years old and has been in custody for 113 days on this case. Your Honor heard the recitation of facts. This is not a particularly complicated case. Mr. Flanigan is an unhoused person. This is a situation where there is allegedly, officers arrived at the scene, saw what they clearly believed was a burglary, and immediately detained and arrested Mr. Flanigan. He's been in custody for 113 days with no ability to resolve this case. He has not had a bond. Judge, this is a non-violent incident. There's no allegations of violence. There's no allegations of Mr. Flanigan resisting or not cooperating or complying with law enforcement officers. And despite the fact that the state did go into lengthy detail about Mr. Flanigan's history, it is overwhelmingly misdemeanor history, Judge. He has no recent felony arrests. I believe none in the last 7 years, something like that, Judge. He largely his history is a result of his status as an unhoused person. He has been living on the streets, relying on the charity of others for the last 2 years. Fortunately, since he's been in custody, he has been able to reconnect with some of his family members, and they have been in contact with our office, and they have opened up their home and indicated that they will allow him to live with them if he is released. He would be living in Douglasville with his grandmother and his uncle. He does have
This is DeKalb County.
strong community ties, Your Honor. All of his family is here. His children are here, and he now finally has a stable place where he'll be able to reside upon his release. He has no prior burglary convictions, Your Honor. Is, like I said, no felony convictions over the last 7 years. This incident is really dissimilar from most of what his history is. And no individuals were harmed in this incident. This is not something that Mr. Flanigan is, trying to avoid, taking accountability for or anything of that nature. You just cannot move forward with this case until it is indicted, Your Honor, which is something that he just doesn't have control over. And so, Your Honor, we're really just asking for a reasonable bond. Respectfully, this is a business where a few clothing items were allegedly taken. We do feel like a $75,000 bond is excessive based on the narrative of the facts and based on Mr. Flanigan's financial resources. So, Your Honor, we're just asking you to consider setting the lowest bond possible here.
Okay, thank you. The court does recognize that it is a 90-day case. It is unusual that a charge such as this would require such, I guess, a high bond.
That is so
But he does have an
high.
extensive history. I am going to reluctantly set bond for him in the amount of $40,000 with the conditions he not return to the incident location and that he report to pretrial services within 24 hours of his release.
40,000 is still high.
Okay, position number 10.
Your Honor, we were holding for Attorney Giles. Is she present?
I did see her on.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, she is on.
Okay. I believe this will be ADA Brett Seaman's case.
Hello, Judge. So this is the case of Jamarcus Fleetwood. This defendant got no bond on the July 18, 24 first appearance calendar, and then no bond again on the 9/19/24 calendar. 90 days have passed by that calendar. So the defendant is now entitled to a bond, but I'll go over briefly the facts of the case. On May 15, 2023, law enforcement responded to Boulder View Drive in reference to a person armed discharging firearms. The victim advised earlier that date her child's father and sister were arrested. Victim advised her child's father's mother, who is co-defendant, sister, and the defendant came into her location unannounced.
No, sorry, the grandmother, the aunt, and the defendant, who is the father of the victim's child.
Yeah, the defendants. Yeah, so the yes.
Okay.
Came into the victim's location unannounced, were antagonizing, refused to leave, got into the victim's face in an aggressive manner. While they were arguing, the defendant brandished a firearm and pointed it at the victim, stated, "I got that switch. I got what you're looking for." The victim had a firearm in her pocket. The defendant grabbed that firearm and took it, and then discharged the firearm 5 times into the
I'm sorry,
air.
the victim took the, I'm sorry.
No, the defendant took the victim's firearm. The
I see.
defendant had
Finally, I was waiting and waiting and waiting. Last time I had him on, I had to point it out myself and nobody. Finally, Jennifer, thank you. See, Jennifer, this is it. Yes.
a firearm and then took the victim's firearm. And then drove away. The co-defendant in the case, defendant's mother, damaged TV with a hammer and stabbed the victim's sofa, which was estimated at $6,000 damage. Shell casings were located in the grass porch. All the parties were living together at the time. The criminal history is such. So this defendant is on first offender probation out of Fulton for 2 separate cases. A false imprisonment with 7 years probation that they were sentenced to on March 20th, 2023, as well as a robbery, which they were also sentenced to 7 years probation. There was also a 7/25/2023 pending case out of Fulton with armed robbery, aggravated assault, possession of firearm by felon or first offender probationer. Your Honor, since the defendant is entitled to bond, we are still asking for a $100,000 bond, cash surety of property in this case, no contact with the co-defendant, the mother, and the victim in the case. On the last calendar, apparently the mother got on and said the defendant could live with her. We're trying to avoid that. We believe the defendant is a danger to the community, risk to reoffend, and a danger to the victims in the case. There's also a baby in the home when this happened. In addition to the bond amount, we are asking for an ankle monitor, house arrest, reporting to pretrial services within 48 hours, and report 4 times a week. No firearms in the case. Your Honor, I understand what the charges are, but obviously factually, this is going to be upgraded in grand jury and is more serious than what was initially charged.
What is the status of the co-defendant's case, or actually co-defendants in this instance? Apostrophe yes versus yes apostrophe. The aunt and the grandmother.
Yes, Judge. I'm looking into that. It's not in this summary that I have, but I might be able to find that information out really quickly.
Oh, he's looking for that. Attorney Giles?
Yes, Your Honor. We're requesting a $10,000 regular bond with any special conditions the court deems appropriate for Mr. Fleetwood. Judge, he has been in custody for 109 days today with no bond, so this is a 90-day case. Judge, importantly, I want to note for the court that the alleged victim who's with us on the call has been in contact with both the public defender's office and the DA's office and adamantly insists she did not make the allegations stated in the warrant. She's not afraid of Mr. Fleetwood, and she is supportive of bond. A no contact order would be absolutely doable if the court were inclined. The family connections got a little confused from the state. Mr. Fleetwood and the alleged victim do not share a child together. The alleged victim used to date Mr. Fleetwood's brother. So she used to be Mr. Fleetwood's sister-in-law in effect, but that is no longer the case. They do not share a child together. They do not live together. We are asking also for contact with Mr. Fleetwood's mother. He does live with his mother in the home. She is a food truck owner and has even recently been commissioned to provide those services at the mayor's office. She's been talking to a few connections in that office to get Mr. Fleetwood into some development and mentorship programs. He has worked with her in that family business almost his entire life. Further, Judge, this is very important for the court to know, Mr. Fleetwood was transported from Fulton County to DeKalb. So he has been in custody consistently on this case for 16 months. Judge, he also has an ankle monitor with very restrictive conditions to only go to work. So if he were to make bond, he would already be on house arrest. He would already have an ankle monitor and a very strict curfew. His mother just moved to Riverdale, Georgia. A little over a year ago. He would be able to live there with his younger sisters who are 18 and 16. They've all been in Georgia their entire life. Many family members are with us today to show their support. Don't worry, Judge, not testifying, but just to show their support for Mr. Fleetwood, his sister, Miss Fleetwood, his child's mother, Ms. Ziana, his mother, Miss Scott, his father, Antonio Fleetwood, all on the call with us, Judge. He has already begun a GED program. He is working on getting those credits as well. He has one child who is 1 year old. He lives with his mother, who's on the call with us, and grandmother, but he's been supporting his son financially. He sees him often, has a great relationship with his child's mother, and his 1-year-old son does have a heart condition and will be undergoing open heart surgery in January, Judge. Finally, Ms. Gavon, the alleged victim, would like to address the court if the court would hear from her. But to conclude, before I call her, Judge, given Mr. Fleetwood's community ties, extensive family support, and very extensive time in custody at over a year in consistent custody now, and the alleged victim's testimony, we are asking Your Honor to consider a $10,000 bond, any special conditions, ankle monitor, no contact, whatever the court deems appropriate. And if I may sound for Ms. Gavon.
Okay.
Ms. Gavon, if you are on the call, would you unmute and turn on your camera for me? Okay.
How you doing?
Perfect. Would you raise your right hand for me? Yes. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you'll give will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Gavon. And without discussing any of the allegations in the case or any of those details, what would you
I'd be a lifer. So I wouldn't be able to get back up.
like the court to know about Mr. Fleetwood getting a bond?
I will say that this was a family dispute and we all lived in the same house at the time. And I'm not afraid of Jamarcus. This is actually like a brother. I will say I want him to be out to be able to see his son because his son is having heart surgery. And he have not been able to see his son. He's not a bad person at all. He's a great person. And I just want him to be able to get out.
Thank you, Ms. Gavon. And
What about the whole firing the gun 5 times in the room with the kid? What about that?
that concludes our argument, Judge. Thank you.
Okay, ADA Seaman, do you have questions for her?
Judge, I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you. And did you locate the information about the co-defendants?
Yes, Judge. Only the mother is a co-defendant. That case is unaccused. She is bonded out. Is there any
What
other
is that
information?
bond amount?
The bond amount was a $2,000 do not return, no contact.
Is that
I know who set those chairs up. I know it. I know it was my kids. I know it because when I give them a simple job, like set the chairs up, this is what I get. I don't know how my kids got to Georgia. I don't know how my kids got into that prison, but I know my kids and I know that they set those chairs up like that.
defendant have a history, criminal history?
Judge, 1 second.
Micah, are you a girl or a boy?
It's coming up. That defendant does have a criminal history of, it looks like 13 cycles. Do you want me to go through that at all, Judge?
No, that is not necessary. And the pending case for this defendant, what is the status of that?
Judge, it is pending being charged. So it is a D number case currently.
Okay. All right. And the amount of that bond
2,000.
for this defendant?
Oh, that we were requesting, Judge?
No, he has a pending case, correct? Or did I misunderstand his history?
The pending case out of Fulton? His criminal history is he's on probation out of Fulton and then has a pending case out of Fulton.
Right. Do we know the bond on that pending case?
Judge, I do not have a way of easily getting that information.
That's fine. Okay. With his history, first offender with the pending case also, I do not believe he is a good candidate for bond, but the court recognizes its statutory obligation to grant a bond since he has been incarcerated in excess of 90 days. So I will go ahead and follow the recommendation of the state and grant the $100,000 bond, cash, surety, or property, with the understanding he will have no contact with the victim in this case. He shall not return to the incident location. He shall be on house arrest with a monitor. He'll report to pretrial services within 48 hours, and I will leave the reporting schedule to them. And he is not supposed to have any firearms, so he will not possess any firearms or any other weapons. And he will follow the conditions of any other orders that are in place.
So that's what I have for the first part. We went through and we did some bond reconsideration hearings. I thought they were interesting. I thought it was just efficient that we just got to hear the lawyers real quick and then hear the judge. Fulton. Is it not Fulton? Did someone pronounce it different? All right, now we're going to go to Wednesday. No, Tuesday. I don't know what day we're going to. The day that Allie and Fazio are in the back of the courtroom.
Out, he's going to get a 7-day setting and then let Victoria know, and then you guys can have whatever day.
Right?
I'm not
That's
going to
it?
modify any of the conditions. We'll just stay as is. Okay?
Yeah, this is it.
Judge, you're looking at DWI now.
Just a DW.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Hey, what's up?
Richard Raymond for Lorenzo Grace, Graise.
Yes, I saw that you signed.
I can't see with this, so I'm just
I
gonna
don't think we need to do anything, right?
so we get someone. There we got someone.
All right, so Mr. Grace, that's weird. The felony case says it's set for 10/7. Did you get a new date already on your felony case?
I'm sorry.
Okay. We can carry both your cases at the same time. That way you don't have to come and go at different times. Just remember, you're under conditions of the court, so don't have any weapons. Don't drive until you get approval, because no license, no insurance, you can't drive. Those are the conditions. As long as you can abide, you'll be fine. Okay? All right. You've got a great lawyer. Listen to them. I will waive your appearance so you don't have to waste your time coming to court, but you must stay in touch with them, and they'll tell you when you have to come back to court. If they can't get a hold of you because you're ducking and dodging, I will issue a warrant. So just stay in contact, and that's it. Stay out of trouble. All right.
Okay, do we need to see pretrial? We're good.
No, there's state's bond conditions, so you're good to go. Just remember to stay in contact with them, and then if you can, try to keep both the cases at the same time. All right? Okay. Have fun.
As a to-do.
Plea Mr. Walter Moses, Your Honor. We're proceeding on the assault of a family member case under cause number 2510200, Your Honor. And the state upon completion of the plea will dismiss cause number 2510615.
Good morning, Mr. Moses.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
Shh.
Guess who the judge was shushing there? Guess. The judge was shushing Allie and Fozzie.
Why does this keep happening? This is your one.
How's your migraine, Kay? Is it any better? Oh, The Young Ones. I love that show. I had a guild named The Young Ones in one of this game I played for years.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it's the 6th time you've picked up a kind of case where it's a violent case. Actually, 7. It keeps happening. Why? Why so much anger?
You mad, bro?
Do you take any medication?
Yes, sir.
Do you stop taking the medication?
No, sir.
How do you get your medication when you're out there in the free world? When you picked up these 2 cases, had you stopped taking the medication? You were still taking it?
I actually finished it.
Meaning, so you finished, you didn't have any more.
Still gonna pick it up.
Council reset.
We had him TRAS. TRAS said mental health caseload, or what did they say? And that's what we're doing, right? Okay. What are the other alternatives that we have?
They want to do the mental health caseload, IFP, thinking for a change, and then they're gonna help them with the council. And they'll report, twice a month. That's how they make sure that he,
What about paying for IOP and all that?
if he qualifies to be the top funded one, because he'll be responsible.
I mean, how do we make sure that he qualifies? Because I don't, Mr. Moses, do you work when you go out? When you're out of jail, do you work? Who do you live
Sorry,
with?
no, yes, sir. You want it?
It's okay, Mr. D. Who do you live with? And when you leave here now, are you going to be able to stay with mom?
Yes, sir.
Do you know that for?
I don't know that for a fact, Your Honor.
Before you were in jail, who were you living with?
Yeah.
Council for reset.
One of the things that you're going to have to do is an intensive outpatient treatment. The problem is that it's expensive. It's not cheap. It's around $500 to $600 to do that. And I don't know if that's something that you have to be able to pay for. If not, I want to try to get you to, I want to see if we can pay for it. How do we?
I'll do an indigency form with him, and then he'll be placed on the wait list if he qualifies. He's also eligible. He'll be on probation for 2 years.
If this fails, what else do we have at our disposal?
If this fails and he starts violating, then he'll place the order. That's how it is.
So I want you to understand, Mr. Moses, that we want this to work for you, but you also have to want it to work. If you do something to violate this agreement, you don't do your treatment, you don't stay up on your probation, if you just leave, they're going to, one of the options is putting you in a residential facility. Do you understand what that means? That means that you will be in, it's not in the actual jail, it's at another facility, right? It's at a lockdown facility that you will not be able to leave, and then you'll be getting treatment. We are trying to do it this way so that you can try to do this while you're out there in the free world doing this by yourself. But if you're not able to, we're going to have to take other measures. Can you get this done?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what's required for you to successfully finish?
Yes, sir.
What do you have to do? Yes. What programs do you have to do? Do you know? You have to do anger management class, right? It's a,
Thank you for a change.
okay, so just you have to do a thinking for a change, which is a class where you teaches you how to think when you're in a bad situation. You also have to do outpatient treatment so that we know that you're actually speaking to people, working through any kind of anger issues that you may have.
Yes, sir. And substance abuse.
And, right, and substance abuse. No drugs, no alcohol. You cannot use any illegal drugs, including marijuana. No marijuana, no illegal drugs, and no alcohol. They're going to test you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
If you complete this successfully, you do not end up with a conviction. But you need to understand that there's still...
Micah said pounding sherry, and Kelly said pounding it with what? But no, her name is Sherry Pounder.
It's straight probation.
Oh, it is straight?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Oh, I thought it was a deferred.
Because he had the state jail conviction up in felony court and the numerous of cases that he had that were assaultive in nature that they were
That'll
not
be me too.
willing to offer him.
Okay. This assault, it's going on your record. There's what's called an affirmative finding of family violence. If you pick up another case like this, you will be facing a third-degree felony. Minimum 2 years in prison, a maximum of 10 years in prison if you ever pick up another assault like this again. Do you understand? That's years in prison, not days like you are here. Years. You can never own a gun or ammunition as a result of this as well. There's an affirmative finding of family violence, so no guns, no ammunitions as well. I'm sorry, it's no weapons, right?
Yes.
No weapons. Weapons is a very loose term. If you have any questions about what a weapon is, you have to talk to a lawyer, but be very, very careful. You understand?
Sir.
You give up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you accept this agreement, you cannot change your mind. You must complete this, and it's a 2-year probation. You understand?
I always change my mind.
How do you plead to the offense? Guilty or not guilty? I will find you guilty, sentence you to 1 year in jail. However, I will probate that for 2 years. You've already done it, TRAS, so we don't need to do that, but intensive outpatient treatment, thinking for a change, and the mental health caseload. If you ever have a problem,
Agony.
come back to us here. We can help you if you come here. But if you just leave and don't do anything, that's the worst thing that can happen. Don't leave. Come back. Good things will happen if you come back.
Don't leave me. Come back. Don't leave me.
Are we okay?
Yes, sir.
Give me questions. Good luck, Mr. Moses. I hope that you can make it. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
No. Just ban it. Yes, hold on, Mr. D, I forgot something. Hold on, I forgot. Hey, I don't think he's gonna have anything to pay for anything, so we need, we gotta get him Okay. I have to have you sign one more document that you need to understand, Mr. Moses, that you are now ineligible, meaning that you cannot have a firearm or ammunition. I'm going to read this to you so you understand this, okay? A firearm means any device designated, made, or adapted to expel a projectile through a barrel by using an energy generated by an explosion or burning substance or any device readily convertible to that
Well, Judge, it's attached to him.
use. If you now possess a firearm or ammunition, it could lead to charges against you. If you have any questions about how long you will be ineligible, you must talk to a lawyer and they should be able to contact you and consult you about that. I need you to sign this so you understand that you cannot have any more weapons, okay? Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. D. Hey, hey, Matt, how are you? Yeah, come on up.
Case,
That's the defendant?
yes, that is the defendant, Keener, Keener.
Okay, I see it.
I'm approaching to ask for more time, for a longer reset. This was a case, there was a 2B from December of 22.
Okay.
He posted bond, I think in May of 24, and he didn't hire anyone. He got a bunch of THA resets until August. So, I believe the RIP was just completed this morning and.
Discovery complete?
It is, Judge.
Is there an offer on the table?
Well, I know that defense counsel can kind of talk to his client about it, because I know it's constant.
Right, so I wanted some time to go over the discovery myself and with him, and then to.
Yeah, I mean, well, of course, we'll give you more time, but at some point, there's got to be a resolution.
Absolutely,
So it's only
Judge.
165 days, so we'll give you another 30 days.
Okay, perfect.
But you got to be nearing.
I'll be on it, Judge.
Any offers? No offers?
There's no offers at this time, Your Honor.
Can you put one on, please? And then that way you have something to counter with as well. So, okay, gotcha. Have fun. Brandon. Hey.
I'm approaching on Mr. Battaglia, BATT.
Okay.
He was told to do a drug test today. His first setting was last week, and he did test positive for marijuana and nothing else. His first court appearance was last week.
He tested it?
I'm sorry, Judge?
Test today?
He did.
Okay.
Just marijuana.
Okay, so.
He's here, Your Honor.
Bring him up real quick.
Yes, sir. Mr. Battaglia. And he knows, Judge, he's not doing anything. This is.
Good, I'm just gonna counsel him.
Yes, sir.
I'm not gonna do it anymore.
Did you?
Yes, sir.
Did he tell you the results?
I just have to say marijuana before I approach.
No, you said that. I just said it.
So I thought you confirmed it was marijuana.
No, I got the receipt.
Okay, that was my misunderstanding.
It has not been confirmed.
Do you have the results?
No, I do not.
Okay, so let's wait on the results, but, okay, so don't use. So I'm not gonna test you after today, assuming it's,
Absolutely. What are we requesting? Hey, Donald, how are ya? How's your brain? So I was just looking on Amazon real quick to buy an inflatable T-Rex costume for Beck. But there's no way I'm going to be able to sit down in the chair in it. So, and the camera won't get it all. So it just won't work. It won't work with my setup. All right, I think we're good now. Nope. Just gonna wait another second. Did I miss it? What's the request? I missed it. I didn't see a request. All right, I'm good now.
Just that, I'm not going to test you anymore until about 40 to 45 days after.
Sorry.
If you test clean after that, wonderful, great. If you continue to test positive for marijuana, that tells us that you're continuing to smoke. No dice. Don't use at all. Don't hang out with anyone that's using. Don't go into a car if people are using.
Can I say something? I don't just use regular marijuana, sir. So
you're not supposed to use anything that has anything.
I was using it. I use concentrated marijuana, so I might test positive after 9 days. But if your second level, you'll see that. Yes.
I'm telling you no, Mr. Battaglia. Okay? Don't use.
Yes, sir.
Show me someone.
Are you asking me to get a clip from 4 months ago? Because I won't be able to.
Where it says it can still be in your system at 90 days. But otherwise, at 40 to 45 days, I'm going to test you again. Don't use. That tells me that, unless you prove to me otherwise. All right. Okay,
He
Grant.
also was telling me maybe going to work in Corpus Christi. I know I would need to give you a letter, but
Look, there's no travel restriction. As long as you're not violating the law, you're not picking up any new cases, doing anything to violate your conditions, I don't care where you go. Just if you get called for a drug test, be aware that you might have to take a drug test because he's got randoms, right? So if you're out and about and you get called, you have to go to Quest Diagnostics and get a test there, and then you can send it to Brandon. We'll take that.
Yes, sir.
So that we don't have to come all the way back here.
Yes, sir. Do you want to reapproach? I apologize, Your Honor.
Don't worry about it. We'll have him here. If something that there shouldn't be, I'll text you.
Thank you.
I got your number.
Okay.
Thanks.
Morning.
Hey, come on up.
Shaughnessy?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me make sure I have his number. I'm not lying. Yeah, I got his number. Okay.
So one, I have his AAs for you. He
Great.
would ask every time he comes to bring these, so.
Great.
Is it for you, Your Honor?
So you guys are.
I did stream him, and I think I streamed the follow-up too. Do you want me to go back and get those clips?
Still in trial?
We
What are you trying?
DWX felony, but
Duh.
just did a motion to refuse, so I don't know. That's where we're at.
Okay, well.
We are in trial right now. I just don't know.
Well, you're not going
I can't be here.
to remain in trial, right?
Yes.
And I get it. So we need to pick a new date.
Yes.
I will look for them.
I
Yep.
think Tyler
do
had
that.
talked about possibly just for something for next week, or
You want
The next trial setting's fine. We just need time for the lay witness. Next trial setting would be fine.
next Tuesday?
Yes, that'd be fine.
Sure.
Yes, Your Honor.
yes.
So Judge, let me just make you aware, we do have a jail case that day, but that's the only case.
I mean, people cave all the time, so.
Right. So I was just making you aware.
That's the shirt she was wearing when I met her. This is the same day.
I mean, next Tuesday, we do have a jury trial set in court one, but we're number like 5 or 6 per the email sent today.
Okay. Let's do it. Let's set it for next week. Where's Mr. Lindsay? Did he take off?
Wait, up to felony real quick to go take care of a plea.
Got it. Okay. We'll set it for next Tuesday, barring something, Mr. Lindsay says something else, which hopefully he doesn't. If so, I'll get in contact with you. Good luck.
The AAs.
Oh, I'm gonna give that back to you. Here.
I was like.
So we'll set you off. We'll just set him off for next week and we just have him sign a reset. We'll send him on his way. Tell him.
Anybody notice something in this courtroom? All right. This is Allie right here. See her? That's Allie. I can't see behind this bookcase, but was Fozzie late for court? Huh? I don't see him. I don't see him.
Keep up the good work.
On Monday next week. because, I don't know how our
Okay.
contract will always work. They'll come in on Monday, so y'all, just yesterday.
Good job, Mr. O'Shaughnessy.
We understand. Thank you.
Keep up the good work. You're doing good.
Judge for, Mr.
Battaglia.
Okay, yes, that, you said you wanted them to test out of county. He's allowed to test out of county?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Quest.
Too late.
Okay, I'll go ahead and.
Perfect. And you don't have it. You don't have the results though, right? You're not yet. Okay. Hopefully before you leave, that way we can.
I wasn't
Okay.
there.
Mr. Ely. Great. Good morning.
I just got appointed on Mr. Adrian Winger.
Hold on, Mr. Ely. Mr. Lindsay, you okay with next Tuesday for the trial?
Am I okay with next Tuesday?
Yeah. Because,
DWR trial?
yeah, with flood.
We need to check with our lay witness judge, if that's all right. We can check this morning, if we could get back with the court, just because she works hourly.
But yes, we should be fine.
I just want to make sure we don't interfere with her job. And she has adequate notice, so she's not in risk of termination.
Hey.
And under the code, I mean, we need 14 days. Typically, we need 14 days to process subpoenas under the code, but
Yeah.
that's not obviously the,
Hey, so technically they need 14 days to be able to subpoena witness and stuff like that. They have a lay witness that works at, I guess, a fast food restaurant, works hourly. Whenever she takes off, she's not making money. So they need to reach out to her to make sure that she's okay with next Wednesday, because remember, she doesn't need to be here Tuesday, only Wednesday.
So we pick Tuesday and start Wednesday.
Pick Tuesday, start Wednesday. So
I had said, if this helps, I know it's confusing, but I said I would come in Mondays as well as appearances to everyone, because we are in some type of trial or anything like that on Monday. I want to come in Mondays. I just couldn't do that yesterday.
it's okay. So you want to reach out between now and then and see if she's okay, and then just let us know?
I would, if it's uncertain now and it becomes certain Monday, that still may cause a problem with our lay witness, just so everybody's aware. But we're going to make every effort to see if we can accommodate her. I just don't want to lose
I'm
the
going
job.
to get to the next person.
No.
Judge, with that trial setting, the next one would be the 29th.
Oh.
And then we have a
case that's set
preferential.
on the 22nd, and so usually those take preference, right? Because they're in custody, but who knows if that's going to even go.
I always tell people, I just assume I'm going.
Boring.
Conversion. Both times.
There we go. Hold
They
on.
gave
Hold
the
on,
false
hold on.
judgment.
Or fine, Mr. Winger,
Yeah.
I can't get anything to work.
I hear you, Judge. I hear you.
Good morning, Mr. Wingerter. Sir, you're charged with failure to identify oneself while being a fugitive from justice. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We are going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you. You have the right to have an attorney present if you cannot afford one. One will be appointed to you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On October 10th, 2024, officers were dispatched to 350 East NASA Parkway in regard to a burglary alarm that went off. While checking the location, officers observed the defendant walking away from the business on the southeast side and ordered him to stop. Upon contact with the defendant advised he did not have an ID and gave the false name of Javier Vasquez, as well as a false date of birth. The officers gave the defendant an opportunity to give his real name twice, but the defendant asserted he was not lying both times. A pat down of the defendant revealed a glass pipe in his left pocket, and he was arrested for possession of drug paraphernalia. Subsequent to that, a fingerprint search was then conducted, which revealed the defendant's real name and showed he had an active warrant with the Harris County Sheriff's Office.
All right, Mr. Wingerter, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with the case. Planning on bonding out.
Ask for a PR bond.
Have you been given a PR bond in this case? Okay. I tell you that I think that everyone, at least one time, should be given and afforded the opportunity to do something right. And I will grant you a PR bond now. But if you take flight, if you take off and you don't come back, I'm going to be very hard pressed in the future. Do you understand? Here's the other thing though. I'm not going to give you a PR bond so you can just run the streets and just hang out on the street. I got to know that you have somewhere to go, someone that's going to care for you. You have somewhere to sleep, not just on the side of the street. Who do you have in your life that's with you now?
My uncle, my son, I can stay with them. And they also got a place I can go.
How old are you? How old are you? 26. Where's mom and dad?
I haven't talked to her while she was in jail last time I checked, and she hasn't.
She was in jail for what?
It was a charge, and she got picked up on
Any mushrooms?
My father, he works out of town, but I can stay with him too.
Where's he living?
Where's he stay? He does industrial radiology. He goes out of town, Mexico. That's where I'm certified to work too, but I just need to get on the job. But right now he's staying off 249 in Fallbrook. There, I can catch a bus over there.
You're saying your dad lives in 249 in Fallbrook now?
My grandparents. Yeah, he stays there. My grandparents, and I can go stay there right now.
So let's do this. I've appointed Mr. Elick to represent you. I'd like to be able to verify that so that we know that you have a place to go to. And if so, I want to give you a PR bond. But like I said, I'm not giving you a PR bond so you can just run the street and create and wreak even more havoc. You have 2 open felonies now. I'm going to keep a very, very close eye on you. Where are you going? What you're doing, so you don't get in trouble and so you're not using what they're alleging is being used. No dope, no alcohol, and I'm going to test you like crazy to make sure that you're not using. Do you understand? Okay, so do you mind?
I can step out and call.
Assuming, then I'll give him a PR bond.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think he's no bonded on his felonies right now, so that could change.
Oh.
But so it's not like he's going to just get out anyway.
I didn't,
Okay.
I guess let's do that regardless. If you don't mind, Mr. Elick, let's
Sure,
see if he has a place to go to. And
be approached one side.
Okay, this is not a good way to go through, man. You're 26. You want to follow in mom's footsteps? That's not a good role model, man. This is not a good way to go. You're starting your life now. You have 1 felony dismissed. You now have another 2 felonies. Life doesn't get easier. It gets harder. The more felonies you rack up, you think you can make life easier for you? Come on, man.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to call anybody right now. I'm knocking down the bus and go straight to my grandparents. I don't have their numbers, but I know. I mean, if I was PR bonded, I know I could go.
What about your grandmother? You gave me her number.
I could call her, but she's not in town.
Give him something so that we have something to work with. We're not just going to throw you out, and we did that 2 times before. Look, you don't have to say anything. We just don't want you floating on the street doing nothing. That's it. All right.
I'll reapproach, Your Honor.
Thanks, Mr. Elick. Okay, hey.
Have a plea on a L'Oreal.
Okay. Come up, Miss Luna.
Judge, there's an amendment to the plea. The state defense agreed to 40 hours of community service if the court so agrees.
What are we doing? What have you guys worked out?
You're deferred, Judge. Plea on 1, dismiss the other.
What about the weapons?
Forfeiture of both.
Did you graduate from high school?
Yes, sir.
What are you doing now?
Job.
When is the last time you've had a full-time job? How old are you?
18.
What have you been doing with your life?
I graduated early.
If you graduated early, that must indicate you're somewhat smart. Mr. Luna, you're building yourself a future now. You're supposed to be working your butt now so that you have $1 million when you hit 40 to 50, perhaps 2 million, because otherwise you're going to be destitute when you hit that age. And I'm going to tell you now, life sucks without money. It really, really does. And what you're doing now is building yourself a life so that you have something when you get old and no one can take care of you and you're all decrepit. It's going to be really hard. I want to do this because I'm going to make sure that he's going to do something productive with your life. You now, within 30 days, must get a full-time job. And I'm going to make sure, because I'm going to make you come, and I'd like to know for certain whether he's got a job within 30 days. No drugs, no alcohol. I'm going to test you. Do you understand? I want to make sure that you're building yourself somewhat, that you're doing something. What about a trade?
That's my good part. I'm waiting on it to come back. And then,
Great. When are you going to get the results on that?
it can take up to 60 days. It's been a month.
Call him back. Call him back. Find out what happened. Find out what's taking him so long. Don't just sit there and wait for someone to hand you something. It's not going to happen. You got to go get it. So we're doing a year deferred. What else? What else?
40 hours community service, Judge.
He would have to come on at 4:30 a.m.
You were charged with 2 counts of unlawful carrying of a weapon. You're facing up to a year in jail on each of those cases. You worked out an agreement where they're offering you a 1-year deferred. Deferred is a type of probation that if you complete it successfully, you do not end up with a conviction on your record. And in exchange, they're going to dismiss one of your cases. What you need to understand, Mr. Luna, is you give up nearly every right known to man by entering this agreement. And if you fail at this agreement, you authorize us to put you in jail for an entire year. 365 days in jail if you violate this probation. Do you understand? I want you to do well, and I'll make you a deal that if you work and you do well, I'll take you off in half the time as a reward for doing well. And I'll make you a double reward. If you are able to get into a trade school education or some kind of trade like that, I will deem your community service hours waived. I'm taking off 100 hours of community service if you get into a trade school, like pipe fitting. What's the other one? Welding. That's what you do, because that's where you can make a lot of money. $20 an hour, $25 an hour. Kill it. You give up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. Once you accept this agreement, you're stuck with this until you complete it or violate it. If you violate this agreement, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. I'm going to bring you back here, and we're going to talk about whether you violated or not. And if you did, you're looking at an entire year. Do you understand? How do you plead to the offense of unlawful carrying of a weapon? I will not find you guilty. I will withhold that for a year. Part of the other agreement is that you will do thinking for a change, substance abuse education, no weapons, no drugs, no alcohol, forfeiture of the weapons. And I think that's it.
Did you get, Chief had mentioned that we agreed to 40 as opposed to 100 hours, Judge?
He did just say that, didn't he?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. He's sitting back there.
Oh,
I marked it on here.
yes, sure.
But like I said, if you get into a trade school, get an education for some kind of trade like that, I'll deem it waived. I'll take it off. Do something with your life, Mr. Lumen. Don't be like these. All right, man. Good luck. If you ever have an issue, come back and talk to us. Don't just take off, because that's the worst possible thing you could do. All right? And don't pick up a new case. Okay, guys?
Thank you, Judge.
Hey, employment within 30 days though, or unless he's in some kind of trade. Okay, Karis.
Working on Miss Cambrick's case, and she's in custody on the felony. This is the young lady with the theft charge. We thought she'd be taken to the felony court earlier this week, but they rolled it till tomorrow.
I don't know, Metal. Sometimes it's fun. Just saying. Who's next? Judge went away. Judge left us.
List for a plea.
Okay. Good morning, Ms. Tellis. Ma'am. Ms. Tillis, you're not going to look at me? Are you that upset? What's going on?
She had the older case. She picked up the new case. We do not have video on the newer case yet. However, the state has made an offer to time serve her on the older case and dismiss the newer
one. Don't tell Bill that we're reading his notifications.
How long have you been in custody, ma'am?
She has 114 days credit on the older case, or she's been in for 114 days total on the older case and 55 on the new one.
Life, man. What do you do in life? Do you work? Do you go to school? Who do you live with?
I'm not able to complete school because I don't have the correct resources. I take care of my younger sister.
And she also
I
receives.
don't want you to plead guilty just to get out of jail. I don't want that to happen because it's only hurting you even more than you are right now. But if I let you out, you've picked up 2 criminal mischief cases.
Pick up a job.
How old are you? Who do you have in your life now? Is your mom around? Ms. Tillis, I want to let you out, but I have to know that I'm not going to let you out to the street. I'm trying to talk to you to get to know you in the little time that I have to see how much I can trust you if I let you out. I'm sorry? Who do you have in your life that's ready to help you now if we let you out? Yourself? Do you have any parents around?
Judge, mom is around. She's just not in the picture.
Father? Do you have anyone in your life that's ready to help you out and give you a place to live?
Set her up to go to the Harris Health Center.
I don't know if she knows what she's doing.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not gonna plead, we're not gonna do this just to let you get out of the street because the street is not a safe place for you.
I don't have contact with him, on a regular basis, but
So who are you living with before you picked up these two cases? Where? Did you have an apartment? Did you have,
house.
who owned the house? I don't know if I feel comfortable. I don't want you to plead guilty just to get out, ma'am. But if you give me a place that you have that they'll take you in, I'll let you out. Will you talk to Anna to see what we can do to try to help you find housing?
I can't get housing. I can't get housing.
Why not?
I have a SSI, but my SSI has been getting taken.
Do you have any other family members in your life that can help you out to give you a place to stay? Aunts, uncles, who?
I have a grandfather.
Is that someone that we can reach out to and speak to? Do you have the number that we can have Anna call and verify? And
What is it called?
Her property at
Property?
at the jail.
I can't.
you don't know the phone number by heart? Do you know any phone numbers?
Hi, Sue.
And Judge, if you'd like, we can roll this a couple of days and I can reach out to the next social worker to have them.
I'm looking now for a phone number. I have one, but I don't know if that's her phone number or someone else's phone number. I'm going through all the paperwork now to see if I can find anything.
Oh, that sounds so good. I'm so happy you're feeling better. Have you been in a car yet since the accident? Because that can get a
Is
little
this
tricky.
7599? Is that your number?
Yeah, the last four.
I don't want you to say it out loud now, but the last four numbers, do you know what your phone number is?
Right, but do you know the number? There's a number that's on the paperwork.
There's my emergency contact.
Okay,
Wonderful. Can you reach out to that? And I'm going to give it to you now.
I can do that, Judge.
Okay, can you please reach out to them, please? And then, if we can find her housing, I'll give her a pound fund. I don't want to just plead guilty just to plead guilty to get out, okay? I want find anything so that we can do it in if we can have her talk to social worker, figure out housing and help with the SSI back so that she has some kind of income coming in. This is the phone number I have. And then if you maybe 2 days, let's not take long. If you need any help, if you need any kind, like if you need investigative money to find any kind of relative for her, just anything you need. Hey.
Just wait on my file for a plea judge.
Okay. Yeah.
You're moving inside of it?
Oh, that's a no-go. Jeremiah, Julian. Good morning, Mr. Julian. Oof. Oof. So you were on bond for an unlawful carrying of a weapon, a felony PCS, a criminal trespass with a deadly weapon, failure to ID, and then another unlawful carrying of a weapon. So you have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 open cases. What are we doing?
It's time served on one of the unlawful carry weapon cases, and they're dismissing the others, Judge. He'll still have to resolve his felony.
So that's still open at this point?
Yes, Judge.
As part of the agreement is forfeiture of the weapon, I would presume.
Yes, Judge. George was pretty specific about that.
Okay, so Mr. Julian, you've worked out just a tremendous deal. They're going to dismiss 3 of the cases in exchange for your plea on one of them. Okay, what you really need to understand is that this charge is going to go on your record, and you are now will be facing a minimum of 90 days in jail for any weapons that you pick up, or I'm sorry, any weapons, any cases that you pick up. You're looking at a minimum of 90 days in jail. Do you understand? This charge will go on your record. It's going to be there for the rest of your life. You can never take it off. You give up all your rights, basically entering into this plea bargain agreement saying, look, I don't want a trial. I don't want to talk to witnesses. I don't want to confront and cross-examine my accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization. You give up the right to appeal. So once you plead guilty, you can never undo this or change this. It will go on your record and it'll be there forever. Is this what you want to do? How do you plead to the offense of unlawful carrying of a weapon? You also need to understand is that the weapons in all of these cases will be forfeit. You will not get them back.
But that was only for one case. The case that I had for all cases. Okay, yes. Can I tell you something? I mean,
sure.
Because sometimes they say don't speak to the lawyer, the judge. Are you talking about the facts of your cases? Yes. So you can't. He's not going to do anything about the facts of your case. That's a separate issue. I want to tell you this, like the new cases that I just caught. I was trying to do a non-arrest warrant, and I had caught a case at my house. Like, this is my home address, and they told me I was trespassing basically at my home. And then the gun was my mother's. And
you're dismissing all those cases. You know what I mean? So you're only pleading to one of the cases, and they're dismissing the other 3. So if you're not pleading guilty to those cases, they're dismissing all of them. So the problem is that part of the plea bargain is that you can't get these guns back. At least 2 of them. We only have 2, right? Yeah. You can't get those back though. Okay. Do you understand that? Yes. Okay. Do you still want to do this? All right. How do you plead to the offense? I will find you guilty, sentence you to 10 days in jail. I'll give you credit for the 8 days that you've done. Unfortunately, we still have you here because you still have your case upstairs. Just be careful. If you get on probation, take it seriously because you're facing a lot of time. Okay? All right. Good luck, Mr. Julian.
Thank you, Judge.
Take care. Thank you.
All right, guys, we got to end here because I have to be at work real soon. I have to be at work at 9:30. It's almost 6:30. So I got to work another double, and I just got off working a double. So I'm going to go rest for a few, and then tomorrow we start. Tomorrow I have off all day. I'm sorry, everybody who has to work on Monday. It sucks. Monday sucks. I love Monday. Everybody's grumpy and at work, and here I am. Da, da, da. Yeah, I know that was mean. All right. Behave. I know, Linus. I'm sorry. I will see you all tomorrow. And I'll do Judge Fleischer from Monday, or yeah, the 14th, whatever the 14th was. Bye guys. Thanks.
Got these life echoes, digital dreams. Through the screen, her blue eyes gleam. Wicked humor, sharp as a knife. Her stream sparks electric light. Late night when the world sleeps, she's the friend that always keeps. Giggles roll like thunder loud. She stands out in any crowd. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm. Freedom tales waiting to the night. Her laughter feels just right. Even when my world turns gray, with a giggle she lights the way. Her eyes hear sky so blue. In her jokes there's a truth so true. With each string she brings the light, turns dark days into bright. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm. Streaming tales waiting to the night. Her laughter feels just right. Even when my world turns gray, with a giggle she lights the way. Kathy's laugh cuts through the gloom. Eyes blue like a summer's bloom. Her humor dark and twisted sharp. In a way, there's no alarm.